subtracting polynomials. So first of all, let's define what a polynomial is. Poly means many. That's a prefix that means many. And nomial actually means terms. So it's something that has many terms or more than one term. Okay, so a polynomial can be a monomial or the sum of monomials. And so now we're going to define what a monomial is. Mono prefix means one. So one term. So basically 5x, x squared, x cubed, okay, x to the fourth, x to the fifth. Those are all monomials. Another monomial could be a constant, like the number 4, 3, 2. Okay, a binomial. Bi means 2. So basically it means we're taking two monomials, we're putting it together, adding or subtracting. Okay, so example would be 2x squared plus 7. You could have x cubed minus 3. Okay, so basically you're just taking two monomials, putting them together. Trinomial. Tri means 3. So you're now taking three monomials, putting them together. Okay, so with that in mind, I don't know if you necessarily need to write this all down. Okay, specifically, I think probably what you should probably write down is the degree of a polynomial. Okay, the degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of all its variables. Okay, the sum of the exponents of all of its variables. And then the degree of a polynomial is the greatest degree of any term in the polynomial. Okay, you don't need to write this chart down. We're just going to go through it in class. But a degree 0 polynomial, we call that a constant. A degree 1, we call that a linear. A degree 2, quadratic, and so on. And you can kind of see how that goes. Okay? And so we're going to talk a little bit about degree today. And so let's go ahead and look at the next slide. If you didn't quite get to it, you can get it later. So first of all, we're going to look at this chart. The expression here says 4y minus 5xz. We want to know if that's a polynomial. So if we look at it, it is. Okay, polynomial doesn't have any weird things that we haven't looked at. And if you look at it, it says it's a degree 2. So let's figure out how it's a degree 2. What's the power of y? 1. Okay, but that's not 2. So then what's the power of x? 1. What's the power of z? 1. So basically, why it's a degree 2 is because you add the 1 and the 1 from the x and the z. Okay, so this right here makes 2. So that's the highest power. Let's look at the next one. Is negative 6.5 a polynomial? Answer is yes. It's a number. It's a constant. So the degree is 0. Why is the degree 0? There's no exponents. There's no variables. It's just 0. The next one. This is not a polynomial. Why not? Because of the negative power. Okay, basically that's what you need to keep in mind. If it's got a negative power or a variable in the denominator, it's not going to be a polynomial. Okay, so there's no degree. If it's not a polynomial, you can't have a degree. And then last but not least, that is a polynomial. Degree is 3 because why?
You have the 4x plus the x.
There's your highest power, right? That's why it's a degree 3. Okay, so with that in mind, I want you to answer this question for me. Is this a polynomial? Yes or no? So we're looking for something quick. Okay, this shouldn't take you very long. Is this a polynomial? Yes or no? So let's see what we have. The answer is yes. Nice job, because it is x to the first power. It's actually a monomial. So with that in mind, is this a polynomial? Yes or no? And the answer is yes again. Because notice you have all of your powers accounted for. Okay? Is this a polynomial, yes or no? The answer is yes again. Okay, remember that's just like the very first example we looked at on that first slide. Okay, is that a polynomial? The answer is no. Nice job. Why is it not a polynomial?
Negative power.
Negative power, and also right here, the a. Okay, so now we're going to talk about standard form. Standard form basically means that terms are in order from greatest to least degree. It means the exponents are in order. So the highest exponent is first, and it keeps going down. So also we're going to talk about the leading coefficient, and basically the leading coefficient is nothing more than the coefficient of the first term. Okay, it's the coefficient of the first term. So in the example, you see that the exponents go in order. I start with x cubed, which is the highest, then I go x squared, x, and then my constant. My leading coefficient is 4. Okay, so notice what this says. It says write each polynomial in standard form, identify the leading coefficient. Don't write the instructions down on this, okay? It's going to take you longer than it will to solve the problem. Okay, so just write down the 3x squared plus the 4x to the 5th minus 7x. Now, we want to put this in standard form. Standard form means in order. So what is your highest power? The highest power is 5, so I'm going to take that term, and that will be first. 4x to the 5th. What will come next? Plus 3x squared. What will come next? Minus 7x. There you go. That's in standard form. Now we need to identify the leading coefficient. Leading coefficient will be what? 4. There you go. That's it. Okay. Let's look at the next one. 5y minus 9 minus 2y to the 4th minus 6y cubed. So now we need to write this in order. So what's your highest power going to be?
Negative 2y.
Negative 2y to the 4th. What will come next?
Negative 6y to the 4th.
What will come next? Plus 5y. And what will come next? Minus 9. So now I need to go ahead and identify my leading coefficient, which is? Negative 2. See? Doesn't take very long on those. Now on the next ones, what we're going to do is we're going to now add and subtract. Okay? So find each sum. 2x squared plus 5x minus 7 plus 3 minus 4x squared plus 6x. So now what we're going to be doing is adding like terms. So the very first thing I need you to do, what is the highest power? The 2. So I've got a 2x squared here. Do I have another x squared somewhere?
Yeah.
Yes? So I'm going to add those together. What do you get?
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x squared. Now you don't add the exponents, okay? Those exponents stay the same. So let's look at the next one. What would be the next one that would come in line?
5x.
The 5x. And then I add that to, and I get 11x. Okay. What about the next one? And, which is?
Negative 4.
There you go. That's all you do. All you're going to be doing is adding like terms. Sometimes there will be like terms, sometimes there won't. So let's go ahead and look at the next one. Okay. What's your highest? Yeah.
You have to find the leading coefficient on those.
Nope. It says find each sum. So now on this next one, you need to identify the highest power. So what is your highest power?
5.
The y to the third. Is there another y to the third? Yep. And what do you get?
3y.
3y to the third. Okay. What's your next highest power? The y to the second. Is there another one? No, so I'm just going to write plus 4y to the second. What's your next highest power?
3y.
The 3y and the, which gives me negative 1y. Or you could just put negative y. And then last but not least, what do you do? Negative 5 and
Actually, it is lazy.
I get what?
Plus 3.
Plus 3. And there you go. So pretty straightforward. All you're doing is adding like terms. Okay, now we're going to find the difference. So 3 minus 2x plus 2x squared minus the quantity 4x minus 5 plus 3x squared. So biggest mistake people make is they don't change this. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the signs. Because you always make mistakes when you subtract. So I'm going to change this to addition. Now when I do that, I'm changing every sign in these parentheses. No, just that one, because that's the only one you're subtracting. So what's your highest power here?
2x to the second.
2x to the second. Do you have another one?
Negative 3x.
So what do you get? Negative x squared. Okay? What's your next power?
Negative 2x.
And,
Negative 4.
which gives me
Negative 6.
negative 6x. And then last but not least, I have 3 and, which is
8.
8. And there you go. Okay, so now on the bottom one, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we have 7p plus 4p cubed minus 8. And then minus the quantity, 3p squared plus 2 minus 9p. So we're going to go ahead and switch, 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 and switch. What's my first term going to be?
4p to the third.
4p to the third. Good. What's my next term going to be?
3p to the third.
Negative 3p squared. Okay. What's my next term going to be?
16.
16p, and that comes from the 7p and the 9p. And then, what's my final term going to be?
Negative 6.
The negative 10 from the negative 2 here and the negative 8 here. Biggest thing you need to remember with subtraction, you've got to switch the signs. Questions? Okay, your assignment then is found on pages 468 through 469. I need you to do numbers 20 through 25 and then 26 through 44, the evens.